so much, everyone, for being here. Can you hear me? Is this okay? Am I, yeah, all good? Thank you. Thank you. I'm Orsolya Petőcz. I'm a PhD student. I work on queer testimonies to the Holocaust, so this is, it's a lot of what I do every day. Matteo, Botrugno, Daniele, Coluccini, the directors of the film. Let's please give them a big, big round of applause.
Thank you.
This is the reason why we never watched the film again.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, Matteo and Daniele, left at the beginning of the screening. They said, we'll put on the timer. We'll be back. Yeah, it's mind-blowing because, of course, I spent so much time with Lucy's testimonies and films about her and this film and the footage. You have so much footage of her, and I spent so much time with it, and this is it just shook me up. Bon. I wanted to start with the fact that when I first went to see this film at a film premiere, Lucy Salani was sitting there at the Q&A. Well, that's not true, actually. That's not entirely true. She stood up and she said, I don't want to sit down. She just refused to sit down. Do you remember that in Bologna? Yeah. So she passed away almost exactly 8 months ago. And my first question is, how do you feel about presenting this film without her? How does that feel?
It feels, hi everyone, English is not our main language, so you will forgive me for saying something not correct. The film was entirely on Lucy's person and on Lucy's life, so I think that Lucy's story was for a very big time forgotten from the main LGBT community. She was renowned in Bologna because she's from Bologna, but the public didn't know her story. So when we first met her, when we first saw her very first interview, we thought that maybe there were a lot of documentaries about her because her story is so incredible, but we cannot find anything on her. Just a few interviews, just a few articles, just a few testimonies.
Something on YouTube about some old footage.
And so we decided that we had to do this movie, this documentary, to block in time this her words, her face, her hands, as you saw. And after the documentary, she get much attention, also in the television in Italy. And
he became something like mainstream after the movie, so it was so weird for us and for her too.
And when she died 8 months ago, the main channel in Italy, in the 8:30 p.m. news, they said that Lucy Salani died. And this was very important for us because we knew in that moment that her story had become something else. And so seeing so many people watching her story and hearing her words after she passed is for us the reason why we are doing this. It's because there are very few survivors. And they are always fewer. And so every word of those survivors is gold to us, is the word to us. So it's very important for us that we are saving the last words of this, because every day we are watching movements regaining some momentum. Yes. And then so we are forgetting. We are forgetting something. And so it's very moving for us to see this movie, knowing that she will not speak again.
She left an empty space, no? But we are happy that we could save her story. That is the most important thing, that we choose to make this movie for saving her story. And okay, she left an empty space, but okay, we have the memory now, her memories. We could save this story, so this is good for us. This is bad because we had so much fun with her. We spent with her the last 4 years. And it was so fun to be with her.
We lost a friend.
Yeah, we lost a friend and a kind of grandma too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was about to ask, that was going to be my second question, well, with a bunch of other questions. What can you tell us about your relationship with her? I mean, it's very striking that you're not in the film. You're not there, and she's in the focus in her relationships, and the film is so full of love, and of queer love, and all of these relationships. Some of the big names of kind of the Bologna queer scene are turning up, and it's full of love. Well, I was about to quote a poem, but let me skip that. Should I quote? For anyone interested, on the Amsterdam memorial for the persecution of homosexuality, there's a poem from 1917 by Jacob Israel de Haan, titled "To a Young Fisherman," and the first couple of lines go, in translation, of course: "Fairer still than a rose, your cheeks a-glowing, your feet more graceful than a tulip stem, and in your eyes there sparkled like a gem, for friendship such an infinite deep longing." For friendship, such an infinite deep longing. So I'm really interested in your relationship to her and your depiction of these relationships.
First of all, the interesting thing is that she was not persecuted because she was...
Of course.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, of course.
No, I tell the story because I know you know the story, the whole story, but maybe not everyone knows, because she was a soldier for the fascist army. She was called for the Second World War to fight, and then after the army disappeared, after the fall down of fascism, she escaped. She had a kind of some adventures, and she was arrested as a defector, and that's the reason why she was brought to Dachau. There was a lager with communist, gypsy, political enemies, defectors, and something like that. And the question was the
friendship.
The friendship with her. It's kind of a very close relationship, because at the beginning she didn't trust us at the beginning, because
she didn't trust anyone.
Yeah, at the beginning. Yeah, because okay, what do you want? What do you want?
What the fuck do you want?
Yes, that's what. And after we made a very long interview, as Daniele told you before, and just with a random approach, documentary approach, and
with like a talking head. telling the
talking
story
head,
of the adventure of her
yeah,
life.
just talking about her life, and but we decided to build the story of the documentary as a fresco of a person, not focusing on a part of a story, Second World War, transsexual identity. Yeah. So we decided to talk about a person, not about something specific. So to build a fresco, to paint a fresco, and this is the.
It was very. Since from the very beginning she was quite skeptic about us, but the documentary is the result of our friendship, not the other way. We began this journey with the intention to do a documentary, but this was transformed completely, like in every documentary happens, in a very close friendship with her. So we should shoot the movie, but we went to the grocery and buy with her some bread and
living with their rhythms, no, with their
very low,
very
slowly rhythms.
Very slowly. We just needed to go in, not to be fast, because we are two directors. We have to show something. No, we just waited and respected her time.
And it was for the very first time, because we come from the fiction world. We did two fiction films, and two feature films, and this was our first documentary. And for the very first time, it was like our first time to do not be in the movie. Yes, we put our things, our style, our point of view, but we had to do a step behind, because her story, and because Lucy was too important to be filtered too much with our.
Too important than us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much important than us. Yeah, more important than us.
Can you tell us? And by the way, we'll open up the floor in a moment. I mean, I have a lot of questions, of course, but so please feel free to think of questions. Can we just follow up on that, on your personal touches? I think you once said to me that some of the archival footage that is in here, you saw that the film was framed by some archival footage, some footage of what looks like an eclipse, what looks like an embryo developing. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, we use the typical documentary language, but we watched a lot of the concentration camps footages, and some Second World War footages. So, but it was not good for this kind of story. So, and the idea came from Lucy, because she always said to us, and at the end of the movie, she told that she imagined after death, a life in another planet, in another world. So we try to imagine with footages, with archive footages, this kind of life that begins, that forms in embryos, and with eclipses, with something, volcanoes, something exploding, something creating a new life. The new life she was hoping to find after death. So the idea was
yes,
was from
her favorite movie was Avatar.
Yes.
So
it's true. It's true
because when we went to Bologna to visit her, we always bring with us some watched
gift,
sci-fi
yes,
movies
sci-fi
because she was so fan of that.
Like the Independence Day
The
movies.
Independence Day movie. Oh, there was 2 DVDs. Wow! Thank you very much. It was always like that, and so we transformed the classical way of thinking about archives footage in this like to do something for her passion for sci-fi movies. And so we began with something that is an eclipse, but it could be also like a black hole in another galaxy.
To create in a classical documentary style something she had in her
and
head,
we went from macroscopic to macroscopic, from macroscopic to microscopic, and then we you see this like planets moving around, and then you see all those boiling volcanoes,
and a new life
and
is
then
born
also and then little and you find this embryo right when she said that maybe there's something
better than us, a life better than us, somewhere.
Yeah, this idea of the microscopic, I think, is very, very important. You know, you're talking about kind of trying to, I was going to say capture, perhaps that's not the right word, depict a person, right? A person who's a survivor, an individual whose testimonies are you know, a piece of some grand historical narrative, but a tiny piece, right? I mean, it's a tiny narrative, you know, and I think that's a very important point to talk about this historical event.
And in particular, Lucy, I think represents in a way all of us, because she were very, so much things in her life.
Very elastic and eclectic identity.
Yes.
Not so a strict identity, you know. It's very...
She was a mother, a prostitute. She kept her male name, but she was a woman. And she said, "Why do a woman can be called Luciano? That is a male name in Italy." And this for us was like, oh my God, queer, when queer wasn't a word.
It's so a word for us, no, a new word.
And she was also a grandmother, a granny. She had this, and you always see in her this duality with a very old woman and a friend that you
something
can,
like our age.
yes. And this is how I think she represents everyone, because every identity that watched this movie relates, vibrates with her.
And the complexity of this identity, you know, of our identity is so complex. And she represented. She was able to
explain it in a very simple way.
Simple way.
Yeah. This is so beautiful. I'll take this moment to highlight that I left a typo on the webpage for the film. We wrote his instead of her at one point, and I thought, you know, what the hell? I think Lucy would be fine with that.
Yeah, Lucy was fine with that.
Right, and so I think that's. It's so fascinating, you know, how you're able to represent this her queer and trans identity, and all of these words, of course, are anachronistic, as you're saying, and in the meantime, they're not completely, because she thought of herself as a woman at a very young age.
Yeah.
And I would love to know about how this might speak to your own identities. You know, how you relate to that, how you feel this speaks to a larger kind of contemporary queer audience. And I think it completely does, but I just wanted to push a little bit more on that.
I think that for her age, she was very she was very projected in the future.
Yeah.
For us, it was like eye-opener to us.
Yeah.
In very intimate way, because as I was saying, being with her was not a single thing. It was like experiencing every day shift from laugh to cry,
at the
and it was every time like roller coaster of emotions. So, and this is our identity.
Yeah.
She taught us the identity, not teaching us identity, just being herself. And this is a very important theme for me. The political body. She was politics. I don't know if it's a correct translation, but she was living politic body, and she showed this with very big pride. So she said one time, they called me with a number. My name is not important. Yes, I know that name is very important for us, for trans community, and I totally respect it.
Yeah, of course,
and
yes.
we have a very wonderful talk with a transsexual woman in Italy that was part of a Q&A and a roundtable on this, and that is our fluid society. And because there are so many people, why a woman can be called Luciano? Why do I have beard and I have beard? Beard is like that. Okay, beard, and I have to define myself or perform my life as a man or as a woman. So that's our direction, and she knew it.
Yeah.
Before transsexual word existed.
Esatto. I have one more question, but in the meantime, are there any questions from the audience? Do you feel free to put up your hand? Yes, please, Anna, yes. Yeah, let me just repeat that just for everyone. The question was, I'm interested in religion and your thoughts on religion and queerness intersecting in the film.
Oh, okay, as you can notice, she didn't have a good relationship with religion, but maybe this influenced a little bit, maybe her life in general, not only queerness. But she was influenced by the hypocrisy of who represented at that times religion, like the priest that harassed, raped there. So she condemned the hypocrisy of this part of religion, no?
She was not against the religion. She
had she has her own religion because she believes in aliens and something
beyond this world. But she was not interested in religion as we define it, Christian or.
For example, she has a Virgin Mary picture on but this is a memory of her mother. Yeah, it's a kind of symbol of her
of her past.
Yeah, her past. Yeah, it's just a part of her life. So it's not Our relationship with religion was not so good, and with priest less, even less. Yeah.
Yes, I think that question was first. Yes.
How did you manage to become so transparent so that everyone they were so natural, like you were not there? I mean, in such a small
place.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this question. I'll repeat it quickly. How did you manage to be so transparent, essentially, that as if you weren't there in the film?
It was for the relationship that we built with her. It was a daily trust relationship. So she knew slowly that we are not stealing anything from her.
Or exploiting her story.
She knew that every word she was saying, it will be in a movie, but respecting her words. So that's very difficult. And when you are very natural with a friend, you know there is no one filming you. But when you know that you can trust the people that is filming you, that they never do something to harm you or to hurt your feelings, you know that you can be yourself and totally be transparent with them. And there is also a work of time.
That's why we began to disappear.
Yes.
And not to be the classical directors being at the center of the.
And you build it like giving when they have lunch together. We just said we'll be here, just talk about whatever you want to talk.
And have fun too,
have fun.
Because it was a funny scene at the beginning.
We need to read this letter, the letter from Dachau, and that was the thing. So at any time they feel free to read the letter. Or if you can't read the letter, don't read it.
Yeah.
But we knew that at some point in their lunch, they had to speak about it, and
without talking about the other Lucy's friends. Friend, the old woman that was in love with a man. Without that part, couldn't be possible to go there at the point. Yeah, we needed time.
And so we stayed with her like every day for a long time, and so she knew that we were there. Also, when she was at the bathroom. At the toilet.
Yeah, we followed her when she pee.
Yeah. And she was so natural for her because she knew that we were friends and we were treating her privacy like gold.
Thank you. Yes.
Innanzitutto grazie mille.
Grazie.
Grazie a te.
It was really moving. I'm really interested in the topic of care and connection as well, and how you highlighted that with the film. Also following her hands and how she took care of everyone. The same hands that had
At the very
yes, at the very beginning as well. And I wanted to also ask how you managed to highlight the connections, and if if that's just their daily life, taking care of everyone, it comes to second nature, it shows. And I just wanted to ask how you managed to as well negotiate with all the relations around her and while keeping it still natural.
Yeah. Let me repeat it for the back. We have a question about care and connection and how that's being represented, especially the imagery of the hands that are coming back at the beginning as well, and preparing food. That was my addition. Sorry, and this representation of care and affect.
The House of Lucy. There's an interesting story. A few weeks ago, home for trans people opened in Rome. No, I don't know how like a
kind of an
shelter,
apartment,
like a
a shared
shelter
apartment.
for trans people, and they called it House of Lucy. And after this, I was there to present the movie because they showed the movie, and I said that Lucy's house was a place when you enter, you feel safe, you care about others, and
Like Said, for example, the Moroccan
she
guy.
kept a Moroccan guy. She knew that each other since like 18 years. They always fight. They were always in fight, in some kind of fight. But you knew that there was love and care and caring, and all the web around Lucy with Ambra and Simone. It was a web of caring because they knew she was our history. She was a monument of history and LGBT history. She was the first, and in 1924 and in 1930s went to her family and said, "Mom, I'm a girl." In Fossano, there is a very little town in the north of Italy, where the priest is the higher possible authority.
Okay. Yeah.
So every one of us owe something to her, and that's why her house was this full of love and caring. And after all she had gone through in her life, she was always smiling, she was always caring, she was always preparing food for others. And that's how community is.
She told us, so I am poor, so we can be poor in too.
Yeah.
So her fellow philosophy.
Yes.
Yeah. I also wanted to add to that I think was that a year and a half ago at the Bologna premiere, which is another
Was that
premiere.
the day of yes, on 27 January.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
When we met for the first
Oh,
time.
but that's when we first met. I know.
22. Yeah.
Yeah. You also talked about the necessity of care for older queer people and queer communities. I thought that was such an important point.
Yeah.
That we sometimes usually old people usually are forgotten sometimes, you know. But trans people or LGBT plus people, for them it's worse than this. So, and we never thought about this problem. And with Lucy, we
faced it.
But we always thought about the idea of a large family, no? The real idea of family for us. For us, this is what we think about that. Because a family is not a family you find; it's a family you create. You create, and her family was family with friends, with us, in last years of her life, and with Said, it's a strange family, but it's a family, and so she chose
to spend her last days with us and with her friends, and we are
the family.
The family.
Yeah.
And we were so proud to be the part of her family in the last years.
Incredible. Yes.
Firstly, I absolutely loved your film.
Thanks.
Also, my question maybe is a little bit dark, apologies, but one thing that really struck me was when she was talking about the concentration camp, and unfortunately she saw somebody being put in the oven who was still alive, and she said, I died then. That was. And did she ever elaborate on that as to what her life was like? Because she said, I died on that day, but yet she carried on living. Did she ever talk about it
She considered her life as a miracle because she was born again after the experience of concentration camp. But at the same time, it was so hard. She died. She was almost 100 years old. But after 75 years, she always dreamt about. Sometimes she had some. Come si dice livido? Bruise on her arms because during the night she dreamt about concentration camp. She hit the bed, no? And sometimes we, well, what did you do yesterday, Lucy? No, because I dreamt about the concentration camp. So it was a miracle for her, as she said in the movie. But and she was a kind of reborn. No, I was born again, and life is a miracle. And I had a second opportunity after concentration camp. But at the same time, it was not. She couldn't go on because she.
I also kind of felt like there was some survivor's guilt. Am I wrong? Like she felt, why did I survive?
She was not guilty.
No guilty. No guilty was survive. But. But with the image she had in the concentration camp was she bring her until the very end of her life. So not guilty, but to survive, to be survived. But it was hard for her even after 75 years.
Just an additional note on that. The question was about this when Lucy is talking about people who are still kind of alive being put in being cremated, being burnt, which is a very striking. She talks about this a lot in the interview footages that you have. It's a very striking moment. Any other questions? Yes.
She liked a lot. We were so afraid that she couldn't like, but no, probably we cried together at the premiere of the movie at Turin Film Festival in Italy. Though it was a kind of crying, everybody crying. No, it was a kind of emotional experience I've never had in my life.
Yeah.
And when I turned, because Lucy was in the middle between me and Daniele, and during the screening, so I turned to her, and she took our hands, and that you did the perfect movie. So she liked.
Wonderful, yes.
Was she doing other forms of work beyond sex work throughout her life, or was sex work her primarily income source while she was younger, or what chapter was that for her?
Love the question. Did she do other work other than sex work during her life? Carpenter. She's quale lavoro faceva altro che prostituzione?
She was I can't say it in English. Like a carpenter.
Carpenter,
like tappezziere. You can translate. Tappezziera. The one who repairs coaches and then sofa. She was and she did that for. What? Okay.
That's right. That's
okay.
Upholsterer.
Upholsterer.
For those of us who speak English
No, okay, it's a very difficult word. I've never used it in English. But okay, and she did that for approximately 20 years in Turin. In the part of her life she lived in Turin, in the north of Italy, and. But at the same time, she was a prostitute at the same time. Yes, to
also because she lived a double
life.
Discrimination.
Well,
Once for being a transsexual woman that she appeared like masculine in her exterior, and and for being a woman doing a man job.
Do this kind of job.
So she was always saying,
how can a woman can make
this job? You don't have to pay me. You pay after the work.
Seeing the work.
They always pay me.
She does say that, yeah. Thank you for reminding us of that. Beautiful. I just wanted to highlight the C'è un soffio di vita soltanto, and her poetry. And then we'll wrap up. But I just wanted to ask you about her poetry, how you feel about that, whether... Well,
she wrote
so
the
many
poetry,
poems.
so many poems, some dirty poems, some, and some fun and dirty poems, or poems like this one, so melancholic. And she wrote this poem when she was 14 approximately. And I wrote a lot of poetry. Okay, just tell us about poetry. And she told this kind of poetry. I told to Daniele, and I've told him. We have the title of the movie. Yeah, because it was the last verse of the poetry. It was so full of future.
Yeah. I don't know if the translation is.
The real translation is there's nothing that there's nothing but a breath of life. The real translation, but okay,
we try to keep the poetry, and then it was like
a life, no?
Like a life.
It's just a breath of life.
Yes,
that go on through the season to the.
Like you were saying, she was just a person in 1,000 people that died in there. It was like a breath of life passing through us, through our lives, but it's still something. And
like this kind of autumn, no? She talk about in the poetry. No, it's a kind of
falling
nature
leaves.
Falling down, these leaves falling down, and then
slowly
there is this breath
of life.
So we had she suggested our.
Sorry.
Yes.
Is it more like a gust of life, a very small bit of wind, a tiny
Yes, like that. And one thing that she told us one evening where we were having dinner, it was that we told Lucy, but how can you remember all these poems at your age? And she said that I had to come si dice per la memoria? Memorize that. Because I used to write them down, but more of some of the poems were
especially dirty poems.
The dirty ones were about her girlfriends prostituting with her.
Yeah. The other friends prostitutes.
So she cannot write down her names, also their nicknames, because if the police arrived and found that stuff, they have proofs that they were prostitutes, that they can catch them. So she wrote it,
and
memorized it, and then burned the
really burned in
the oven.
It's incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. And any last words about Lucy? How might you take her with you for ongoing work? Any last words you'd like to say about that?
Something that we want to say.
Yeah. Any last words?
I don't know. I think that if we lost the memory of those things, and we don't practice the memory every day, this thing will be again. This
will happen again.
This will happen again.
Maybe
so we are every one of us is important for this task.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to keep the memory alive, and we have to practice every day, because we can be here for people because of people like Lucy, but the spirits and the ghosts of the past are here, and we saw it everywhere. We saw it every day, and so Lucy didn't give up, and so we have to do it as well. I think that's what she wanted.
Yeah. Thank you so
you
much.
too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.